Good evening, everybody. It's Monday night and it's time for a nervous chat. For those of you who were just watching the Coaster Togs stag do vlog, I hope you've recovered your composure. It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. If you haven't watched that, get over to the Coaster Togs YouTube channel and check out his vlog of Dale, the coaster capturers stag do at Alton Towers, which we were all there for, and it was absolutely hilarious. Such a good vlog, and thoroughly enjoyed, and the day was absolutely amazing. Couple of things I'm just going to run through very quickly. We're trying something a bit different tonight. If you've got a question later on that you'd like to ask Lauren, and you'd like to come into the studio and ask it directly, then please drop me a message on Instagram. I've got my phone here with Instagram Messenger opened. I'll send you the sign in for StreamYard, and you can come into the studio and ask Lauren directly. So we're going to give that a go. It's a new thing. I'm just trying to make it a bit more interactive, and I thought it'd be nice for people to come in and ask their questions themselves. So we're going to give that a whirl. On Wednesday night will be the premiere of my version of Dale's Stag Do. I haven't got any fancy VTs for you because it's still in editing process at the moment, but it's very nearly finished. So please look out for that on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on my YouTube channel. Upcoming quiz, Walking with the Woods. They've got their Disney live action movies quiz coming up on the 20th of May, 8 p.m. over on the Walking with the Woods YouTube channel. Don't have a VT for it at the moment. I will have one by next week. However, the link for the quiz is in the description for tonight's video, as is the original episode of Nervous Chat that I did with tonight's guest. This is a back chat episode. The guest's been here before. They know the ropes. We've had a great chat. Brought them back because it's been quite a while and there's a lot to catch up on. So, right, so without further ado, I'll just a quick run through the live chat here because it's already going a bit crazy. Good evening to the Thompson Life, Walking with the Woods. Thanks, Nick, for stepping in to mod for me tonight. That's really much appreciated. Evening, Esther. Thank you for joining. Della, lovely to see you. So glad you could join us. Mike, Journey to the Attractions, thank you for joining tonight. Who else have we got in the live chat? We've got Red Balloons, Single Rider. Thanks for joining. Jamie, Danny and Jamie Vlogs, lovely. Sam, you legend. And you said you didn't know how to vlog. Well, you've completely blown that out of the window now. Evening, Benj, thanks for joining. Nice to see you, mate. Hope you enjoy the show. Always nice to have new people in the chat. And I think that's about it. So that's enough of me waffling. Sam, I got it in. Let's bring tonight's guest in. So you may remember back in the early days of Nervous Chat, I interviewed an absolute legend of a photographer. She is very much a local Thorpe Park fan like myself. And we had an amazing time chatting about the fact that she is totally fearless versus my complete fear-ridden anxieties and everything else. But a lot's happened since then. And so I thought, let's get her back and let's have another chat. So without further ado, let's welcome in Lauren from Lifthill. Lauren. Evening, Lauren.
Evening. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Glad to be back. I feel like it's been, you said 6 months. So it's been a very long time.
It's been at least 6 months. I mean, this is episode, 38? I want to say it's episode 38 of the show in total. And you were episode 6. So
geez. Yeah, very long time then.
32 weeks ago. I don't know why it's taken so long for us to get back in like this.
I don't know. I think it's just as I said before, like loads of things been going on. So then the park's opening and stuff. So obviously, everyone's been. I think everyone in the chat can say as well. Like, everyone's just been everywhere, trying to do a million things at once at the start of the season. So also hello to everyone in the chat because I can see your comments popping up as well.
You can see them.
Yeah, I can see a few of them popping up. Yeah, I can see them all coming through now.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's as you say, it's been a bit crazy. Close season, I think, was quite hard for all of us, and I'm sure you don't mind me saying that. I know, like myself, you particularly struggled close season.
Oh yeah.
And I think, there's a few times I was sort of reaching out to you, and just trying to g you along a little bit, and keep spirits up and stuff, and the sort of thing that friends do for each other, and as I said, I know that a lot of people struggled this close season.
Oh, 100%. I think as well, it's one of those things, because obviously I think we're so, I don't know everyone else in the community, but we're so sociable, and everyone just sort of connecting and meeting up with each other and hanging out, and you get that point where it gets into the season. It's a good long time, from October to March, where the theme parks aren't open. So I feel like you find, like, when you're very passionate about something, you find very disconnected, and that's I think definitely how it makes me feel when off season comes. Like, and when it's about talking about open Alton Towers all years round, I was like, please do.
Yeah, well, I must admit, I found it particularly difficult because obviously I only started YouTubing last year.
Mm-hmm.
So the close seasons before that, I hadn't really met anybody. I'd met a couple of people through the Merlin Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't anything major. And then, of course, last season, vlogging, getting out there on Instagram, and then by the end of last season, I'd met 5 of the best friends I'll ever have, and there's and more. They're just the ones that are in a very close circle of mine, and more people besides. And I was so used to, as you say, seeing them on a regular basis, or we'd finally got all to get us all together in November for Run Alton Towers, and of course that was the very, very last time that Alton Towers was open.
Yeah.
So it was kind of done and dusted, and it was kind of a meet, lovely, love you all, boom, gone. And all of a sudden I wasn't seeing these people anymore, and I wasn't likely to see them, because there was no parks to go and meet up at, and and it was really, really hard. And I think if it hadn't have been for this live stream, I think I would have gone mad, because at least this maintains some connection with people.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, as you can say, it's very, when it's, you don't meet up and go for a drink with people really, like the community, like the theme park, like you all kind of just go to theme parks and you all like plan your days out there and all that sort of stuff. So I found that when it started to close in October and I couldn't just pop to, like Chessington or Fort Park, like my local ones, just for a day out, it just kind of takes that energy away. And I don't know if anyone else gets this, but it feels like the passion loses a little bit, just because I'm not there. I can't go. I haven't got the option just to go there, if that makes any sense. So I find the off season like really hard, and that's why I try and, if you can, it's a really good thing to try and go to Europe that is open, like parts that are open in that time, because it keeps you going a little bit. Some of them are open through the Christmas period as well, so that it's just getting connected with that thing. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think I'm going to try and make more of an effort this close season to actually just meet people in general. So do what you said we don't normally do, which is go for a drink at the pub, because there are still places that we can go and meet. There's Merlin attractions in London, of course, that are open all year round. That the attraction is an excuse, I suppose, to get us all together, but we can use that. So that's what I'm going to try and do this
definitely
season, is get away from that isolation, because it was isolation that was the killer, really, I think, for a lot of people. I think one of the downs for me was that I did Chessington at Christmas, which was absolutely amazing, and it was lovely. But one of the reasons I booked it, from a slightly selfish point of view, obviously Gabriel to go and see Santa, that was amazing, But last year when Chessington opened at Christmas, Vampire was open, and one or two of the other big rides as well were also open. So it was a bit of a coaster fix halfway through close season. This year, at the very last minute, they announced there would be no Vampire. There was almost no big rides available. I think Blue Barnacle was the only thing of any thrill that was available. and it was like having the rug ripped out from underneath me almost. You know, it was like, right, so no coasters.
No, and that's what you're there for. Your fix of
And
coasters, isn't it?
Exactly, absolutely. And then you start working out, right, so how long have I got to wait now until I can get a coaster fix? And you're like, oh my God, it's the end of March. That's like 3 months away. That's
It's a long time.
really
It feels
long
like it.
time. Yeah,
Exactly.
you know, and
So no
and then
point
of
in thinking
course,
you think you're American, because if you're actually in America, you could just, you know, you live near Disney or Universal, you could just pop down there. You got a pass for like throughout the whole way through the year. But here, obviously, it's slightly
yeah.
different because of the weather and
Oh, I
the
know.
maintenance and all that sort of stuff.
It's
But I,
it is.
yeah, definitely need to be like keep something open, I think, throughout the year. So they're talking about trying this Alton Towers thing. I think they should give it a go and sort of see, even if they're just staggering certain rides being open, like different roller coasters open at different times, because obviously their maintenance period is obviously quite important. So
Yeah.
I think if they could do that, have, you know, the Wicker Man open for a couple of weeks and then close that and put something else open, or is that trying to stagger it in a way, would, I think, would be quite good. It'd be interesting to
Yeah,
see if they do it and how they would do it if they was going to.
I must admit, I'm intrigued that Alton Towers is the first choice to trial that, purely and simply because we all know that the temperatures in that part of the country more regularly dip to below
Yeah.
freezing over the winter period, whereas somewhere like Chesington or one of the southern parks where the temperatures tend to hold a little bit higher for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that might have been a better idea from a
I think so.
technical perspective, but obviously, I actually found out that through talking to somebody I know at Chesington that some of the rides there are actually very tolerant of low temperatures,
Okay.
and actually they're always quite surprised that Chesington don't open them because they're also low maintenance rides. Things like Cobra apparently can operate in near freezing temperature.
Okay.
And is very low maintenance, so it doesn't need to be closed for long periods for close season maintenance. So why not open that up? And just
Something that works a bit better in the in the cold weather. Exactly. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I just said that it would just be interesting to see how that runs, and if that is effective and it works around, you know, Fort and Towers, will they start bringing that to something more? Said more of the southern areas. Are they going to start bringing that to something like Thorpe Park or Chessington? And I hope they do, because I think you said it would fix everyone's coaster fix issues there, wouldn't it?
Well, absolutely, and I think if it works at Alton Towers, we all know Merlin likes to make a pound. If they see a money making opportunity by keeping parks open all year round, they're not going to pass that up, are they?
No, 100%.
As long as it proves cost effective, then I can't imagine that they would go any way other than rolling it out across the estate, as it were, and getting everything open.
Yeah, no, definitely.
11 months of the year even would be, I'd even settle for 10.
You settle for 10, like
I'd settle for 10.
I'll settle for 10.
They can close November and January maybe, and and then.
Oh, not November. That's my birthday. That's not fair.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, maybe December and January then.
That works. That works a bit better.
Not January and February though, because they're the two hardest months, aren't they? From a depression point of view, January, February are the two hardest months of the year. Always.
I'm not a Christmas fan, so I wouldn't have minded that Christmas was the one they got rid of.
yeah. But it would certainly be a great thing to do. And I think it's a great idea, and if they can make it work, fantastic. And as we say, if they can roll it out across the estate, then brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So let's start catching up with all the other things that have been going on in your life. We'll start with the very simple new logo.
Yeah, definitely. The whole, I think, concept for that with me was I like the one I had previously. The blue and the red's definitely my favorite colors, and it's a bit more playful, I'd say. But I think because my account now is, before I had a bit more content about other things, my account was more focused on my photography, so I kind of wanted to have the camera involved in the sort of like the coaster concept. So I've got a few different like models of this new logo, but I've just got it in the last couple of weeks, and I love it. I think it's actually it's simplified. It looks a bit more clean than the other one, so that was the idea behind it, wanting to get more photography based logo that fits the account, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And actually, just going back to the thing we were saying about the winter opening, as Barney, who has a son who works at Thorpe Park, is saying it would be better for the staff to have a year-round job rather than having to try and find winter work elsewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Coming from a seaside background, I know, that it's during the summer, there's enough work for everybody.
Yeah, I worked for Gulliver's for 2 years. So, and that was just at the end of COVID as well. So we had the problem where, it finished end of October, so when you close, and obviously it opens around just before March when we start getting all these staff training in. And it came to the point where, you'd come off that October season and then you don't have employment. So you've got to go find something for literally for a couple months before you go back to that job. And it's not really effective. Obviously the managers stay in those positions and they stay there, but it would be more effective, I think, especially for the start. And also, we talk about the cost of living and stuff at the moment as well, and like job security and those sorts of things. I think it definitely would be beneficial for the staff as well. 100%.
Yeah. And I think it would help reduce staff turnover, which we all know creates a problem every opening weekend or first few weeks of a season, when you sort of 60% plus of the staff are new, all requiring training. Probably won't get into their stride until probably June, July, and then and by which point we've all had a bad experience at some point somewhere.
I think from my perspective, because I used to train staff on rides when I used to work previously, and we had a lot of problem where because the actual training period just before the season opens isn't very long, so you kind of got to train X amount of staff on rides to be running properly in a short period of time, and you get to that start of season. Opening weekend has always been hell on earth because everyone runs there for opening weekend, and then staff aren't confident yet. They don't feel confident because it's great you can teach your staff on rides, and so that's like the part you should be able to do in the background, but under pressure and with a lot of people and a lot of complaints and all those sorts of things, I think we can run into a lot of problems that kept occurring on people, and then people would quit because they didn't like the stress of it, and it does stop the turnover, because if they're already trained and they're already there, they're all year round, and you don't have to keep training these people brand new every single time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that can only benefit the park and operate overall, so we digressed a little bit there.
That's okay, sorry.
What you were saying about your logo,
yes,
I totally agree with you about the clean logos. Obviously I redesigned mine. I love the old logo, and I've kept the artwork for it because I love it so much. It was fun, it was playful, but as time's gone on, I've kind of felt like I needed something a bit cleaner, a bit more simple. Obviously I've kept the original wording that was designed for me by a great Instagrammer called For The Theming.
Yes, I know that.
Andy, I think his name is. So I've kept that because I love that writing was just perfect. It looks amazing. But I've been able to use that now on a different background with just a very, very simple little track swirl.
Yeah,
I prefer it personally. I think it just looks nice and clean, almost professional.
Yes,
I'm not a professional, obviously. We're all amateurs, but it just gives that impression, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's important. I think it is important.
Well, your logo is your front and brand, isn't it? So people, I don't know how Instagram or everyone else thinks the same, but when I look at people's Instagram, their profile picture is the first thing I recognize before a name. So there's a lot of people, even in this chat who are here now, if I see their logo, I'll recognize it straight away. I know exactly what account that is, who it is. So it's very important to sort of keep that, because if it's a picture of yourself, which is also great, it's sometimes hard to recognize sort of you specifically with your account. So it's good to just have like a solid logo that's quite memorable.
Yeah. Well, as Nick says, subtlety goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. 100%.
It really does.
If you make it too complicated, then there's a lot going on. You don't need it to be simple. Makes the most impact, I'd say.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Obviously, the next big thing, of course, And I have to say a massive congratulations on your recent engagement. I mean,
Thank
wow.
you.
You've been storing up all these little bombshells for us, haven't
Oh, I
you?
know, I have been. Yeah, she's actually downstairs at the moment. I can hear her coming from work. She's arguing about something to do with it. But yeah, I got engaged in March in Athens. Actually, very nervous. It was not not an easy thing to do. You think in your head it was like, oh yeah, plan this out, and I'm exactly gonna have to do it. It's gonna be great. But I was like an absolute shambles before I even done it. And she was in a bad mood actually. That I remember because the sunset. She wanted to watch the sunset, and that's when I was going to do it. And it obviously went down too quickly because which in Athens it just goes like really quick.
Yeah.
And she was like, she's like, all I want to do is watch this bloody sunset, and she's just going off. And obviously when I actually proposed to her, she said yes, and she was like crying. She was like, I'm so sorry, I've been moody all day. And I was like, it's fine. But yeah, it's been good. So we're actually looking at venues at the moment and trying to get a date. So lots of good news coming that way. But yes, thank you. Congratulations.
No, I think it's absolutely amazing. And I wish you both the best of luck. And
thank you.
I'll send you my address for the invite.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Oh, don't worry. I've already planned. I've written my guest list out, and there's actually quite a few people probably in this chat as well who are on that list. So I will get you a invite. So.
And also, don't forget that Coaster Tog runs a.
There will be a stag/hen
and stag do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a paintballer, kind of go-karting type of get drunk, paintballing, go-karting, theme park. Let's do it. I want to do
awesome.
what I want to do for it, and I said I'll invite probably a lot of you guys will come because we'll do like a theme park day. But I was going to think if we go to a theme park for a day and do like a fancy dress, all of us in like Mario characters or something funny like that, we'll just do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that'd be absolutely awesome. I can't guarantee what state you'll be going home in, of course. It's having seen the state that I was in and not actually on the after the stag do day. It was because of the drinking the night before.
Oh.
And then having to go and do the stag do day at the park. That was quite interesting, and the morning was very, very tough. I'm not going to lie.
I've done a theme park hangover before. I tell you now, it's rough.
I'm in the process of making a video. I don't mind letting it out because it's in the pipeline. I can't say exactly when it's going to come out, but I'm making it at the moment of rating Alton Towers coasters by the worst for a hangover. Okay,
are you doing it hungover?
Now, well, I've done it. I did it. Oh yeah, I did it. Yeah. And that's why if you've seen a couple of stories from me recently asking about,
yes, I think I commented on one actually.
You did, yeah, and and rides you least like to do with a hangover. It's all research. There was a point to it all.
Okay.
I'm not turning into a raving alcoholic or anything. It is research to sort of get people's general views on it. But the video will be my view. Yeah. And then obviously I can throw it open then and say, do you agree?
Yeah.
But
I've done Oktoberfest at one time. I was drunk before because we went there in the daytime and it started off with one beer about 10 o'clock and then it kind of spiraled into about 5 or 6 and we were pretty I don't want to say stumbling, but was stumbling, and my friend was like, let's go on Smiler, and I was like, you sure about that? Was that a good idea? Got halfway around it and my friend's like, I think I'm gonna be sick, and I said, if you're sick, we won't be friends anymore, because that's just gonna go backlash into me. But I recommend don't do it. Drunk. Don't do it.
I can honestly say there were a couple of rides on that day where about halfway round I was going, just hold on to the contents of your stomach. Just hold on.
Yeah, I felt that before.
And there's paracetamol in the bag to fix the headache. Don't worry.
Yeah, been there.
But it was entertaining. It added a whole different dimension to these roller coasters. I must
it does.
Admit, it was brilliant.
No, definitely.
So obviously other changes that have come about. I think I've spoken about it before on your behalf. You and I have been playing around with your new podcast series.
Yes.
Which we're obviously trying to arrange dates that we can work on it together, which unfortunately hasn't happened.
We've just got, I think we both got really busy and that's so fine. So just people who actually are, because obviously some people have been listening to it. It is coming. We will be sort of organizing it and getting it together and obviously getting people on there as well. It's just at the moment, I think we've just had just been a busy moment. I think everyone's just kind of, I said, the opening of theme parks and all that sort of stuff. It just ends up getting up, but it is coming. I promise. We will sort it out for you guys.
We will get it sorted. If nothing else, it'll be something lovely to listen to over the closed season. It'll remind you of me and Lauren. I mean, what a lovely thing that could be. Closed season, thinking of me and Lauren chatting away about roller coasters and all that kind of stuff. So, what a great present that would be.
I tend to have a lot of controversial opinions as well when it comes to theme parks and stuff, and people never agree with. And they're like, "You're brave." I'm like, "Well, it is what it is, isn't it?"
I don't know. I must admit, I remember you said that to me before about controversial opinions, and maybe it's just that I'm a bit controversial then, because I agree with a lot of your opinions on a number of things. And I remember the podcast about manufacturers. And I remember listening to it and thinking that could be quite controversial. However, I do tend to agree with you, actually, and I can see why that's your favorite manufacturer, because they are pushing the boundaries. They are, working to bring out new styles of ride, whereas the others, as you quite rightly said in the podcast, are catalog roller coasters.
B&M.
B&M, Gerstlauer, because I think they're as guilty of that now.
Definitely.
You think about how many Eurofighters there are across Europe.
And I love Gerstlauer coasters as well, and it's just, I just want to see more, and I don't think I'm seeing it at the moment. So it's definitely one of those.
yeah. So I didn't think it was that controversial. The thing was, if the statement initially was controversial, your evidence to back it up, I think, probably would have been enough to persuade most people, unless you were a die-hard B&M or Gerstlauer fan. You probably would have been. A
lot of people are hardcore B&M fans, I tell you that.
They are, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with the B&M. It's reliable, and it's.
That's the only thing I say about B&Ms is, they're good, efficient. They last a long time. You know what you're getting for your money, kind of thing. I think that's what people like. I think what theme parks like about them as well. They don't need an awful lot of maintenance, because they last so long and they're good prices, and you get a lot of catalog coasters from them as well. That tweaks all that sorts of stuff, and I can see Merlin are very good at keeping a couple of B&Ms in there, and obviously just got a new one at Chessington, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit anyway. And I didn't actually know the price for that one, but I know that that will last God knows how long, years. Absolute years.
I agree. When you think about Nemesis is 30 years old next year, Inferno was 20 years old this year, I think.
A better model, that's a controversial one. Am I saying that out loud as well?
Yeah. The better model.
Better model.
And and obviously I think Galactica again, it was
2002, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so of course Oblivion 25. All still going strong. All had minimum major maintenance work done. Well, all right, but they operate.
They still work. Yeah, you can still get them.
They're still
running effectively,
and they're relatively reliable. So I think it says it all about B&M. If you want a reliable, solid coaster, then they probably are the guys to go to.
I saw that Grumpy said that we had a conversation about the B&Ms for a while, and I just saw about the themed rooms at Thorpe Park as well. So I'm sure that's
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to get your impression on that, because I've got some very strong opinions about that, that theming.
I haven't seen them. I don't know, any pictures been released of it yet, or is it all still kind of under the covers, or have I missed them yet?
I've not seen any definite pictures. However,
that's what I thought. But the thing is,
what I'm hearing is stickers.
Is going to be and I think we can all agree. I don't know if anyone's I've not stayed in any other theme parks hotels. I've been through Chessington's, I've had a look at it. Grumpy and Poppy took me to Alton Towers once the first time. I've never even seen it, and I've been there for like ages. I used to be up that way, and blew my way how big that was. But the hotel, it's good, it's cheap, it's a container, it's not you're not paying for a 5-star. But I always thought when they talk about releasing these swarm ones, one, how much they're going to cost. is what I want to know. And two, what are you going to do with the room that's theming? Because I feel like it's just going to be that big wall that's obviously got the island on it at the moment. It's just going to be a swarm themed wall. And it might have a black bunk bed if you're lucky. You know, that sort. It's not going to be anything strenuous.
Oh, here we go. Single Rider has just said that the swarm rooms literally have vinyl on the walls and drawers. And that doesn't actually surprise me. I think, as you say, the shark cabins are fit for a purpose.
They're not there to be 5-star. Yeah,
they're not luxury accommodation, because the majority of people that go to Thorpe Park probably are not luxury accommodation people, or they weren't. Certainly, when the shark
it's not really a family
built.
park either. You don't take young children there really. So, you know, I stayed there I've been there. I stayed there for like 2 nights recently, and I spent maybe like £200. And it's not even that bad. It gets me where I need to be, and that's what it's for. Like, it's never need to be like a 5-star glamour. It's got the new bar outside now, which I might say is actually quite nice. The little truck barn looks really good. And it's just like, so you can just go out and have a beer and sit out there. So it's got that little bit of extra to it. And you don't need anything more than that from what it is. I just saw as well that people were obviously talking about Inferno, because we just mentioned it a minute ago. But I can definitely say I think Nemesis Inferno is the better coaster out of the Alton Towers one and the Thorpe Park one. And that's not many people will say that, but I just find it a lot more thrilling, personally.
Yeah. That brings me on to actually Nemesis, because I did want to talk about Nemesis as well a little bit. I'm sure you've seen the new track.
Yes, I have.
What do you think of the new track?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. No.
We're going to disagree here.
Yeah, because and the reason is I don't know if anyone. This is what I don't know. Are they sand down this track as well? Is it going to roar anymore? Is it going to be silent? Do we know? I'm sure someone knows in the comment section, because obviously I know the B&Ms. They had one in Sweden, the monster one in Sweden, which got sanded down to stop the roaring. So I don't know if that's something they've done. But I understand the black, and obviously the vein makes it a new feel to obviously what they're going to do. But there's a few things that I think could go wrong with this. Is one, that red painting on that track, how long efficient is that going to last? Is that going to start to wear off? The colour's going to go. Is it going to start to look bad under weathering? Is my only concern. And also, if they're going to put the black and the red, they need to revamp that alien. The Lifthill needs a whole new spray. Like, there's a few things that, like, I don't know they are not doing yet to make it look good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand why people like it. It's new. It's a new reborn. It's black. It's got the, it's different looking track, and that's great. But it's just, is it going to be able to stay like that? Because if it doesn't stay like that and the weather starts to ruin it, then it's going to look a bit grey again.
That's my concern. And when I first saw it, the first pictures looked like those veins were just vinyls stuck onto the paintwork, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cheap.
I think they are painted.
Merlin. It is painted, yes. Yeah. I've seen photos since, and it is painted, so that's great. It is painted, like you say. Knowing Merlin's reputation for keeping things clean, tidy, polished, well maintained, whatever you want to call it, I'm quite concerned that, as you rightly say, by the end of the season, and I'm only giving it that long, it's going to look tatty.
Yep.
I really hope that they retheme the station, the Lifthill, as you say, to the same level that they've done the track, because to me that's a whole package now. They're repackaging the entire ride. So that's part and parcel.
It's just it's the alien as well, because obviously the alien on the station moment, if you look at it, it looks so worn, and obviously it's been there since it's been built. Yeah. So they need to either just give it a complete repaint and like redo it, because if they got all this new track that looks brand new and looks great, and then they've got this old looking rustic alien that doesn't look very nice, and the old Lifthill that's not been painted or anything like that, I don't know if they can. Hopefully they can. It's just going to be like not look as clean as they want it to look, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The gun on the way to freedom, it does need a repaint. The one behind the cage, isn't it, in the middle? Yeah, that needs a redo as well. I walked past that recently, and I was a bit like, oh.
Yeah, the whole area just needs a real spruce up. And of course,
and they can do it, because I've just been to Chessington with Grumpy on Tuesday, and I walked around, and I went to Chessington start of last year. Like, I didn't get to go at all really last year, and it was looking dead. It wasn't looking very good. But we said on Tuesday, and I've walked around every single area, and everything's got a repaint, everything's got a retheme, everything looks so crisp and clean, and even like Dragon's Fury supports have been painted brand new red, and it makes the difference. Like, I was saying about Thorpe Park, it makes Thorpe Park look old as well, because there's no like new, just even a lick of paint makes a difference to things. I just think Merlin are missing out on these little factors, because little things can change a lot. And so the Chessington one looks, even where the Tiger Rock is and all that area, looks amazing. They've put new flags in, new poles, new pillars and all that sort of stuff, and it just looks really good. And if they did that for Thorpe, it would make a big difference. And Alton Towers, the Forbidden Valley area, needs that as well. And so they're going to put the new ride in there, go full out, don't half-heart it. What Merlin's known for is half-hearting. I really hope they don't, because it can make the difference 100%.
I as Sean, Grumpy Theme Park Dude, has said, and obviously Nick Walking the Woods is highlighting as well, Galactica's now going to stick out like a sore thumb. And I must admit, I did Galactica 2 weeks ago on when I did Dale Stag Do, and as we approached the station, the big Galactica sticker on the outside of the station building, it was peeling off, and I just thought that sums up the state of Galactica right now. You know, I wouldn't
be surprised if they strip that out next. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think they need to. They either need to completely retheme it and make Forbidden Valley's theme one theme across
rather
the
than
board.
It sticking out in the corner. Yeah,
rather than it sticking out the way it does, or controversial maybe, get rid of Galactica. It does nothing. It's a very tame, quite boring ride.
Yep.
Those ankle restraints are not very comfortable, and you know, and the theming doesn't fit the ride. It's meant to be a space ride,
and that retro ride that sat next to the roller coaster restaurant as well, it's just randomly there.
It's just like stuff's just been randomly sort of dumped, and as I say, that may be a controversial opinion. I don't think it is totally controversial. I've spoken to a few people now who agree that, you know, Galactica either needs to be rethemed or got rid of, and replaced.
Like Rita, you know, she was Queen of Speed, and obviously then they made the whole, what is it called? The branches over the logo, and all. It just made it fit straight into that, and that's what you need to do. I think Merlin really thinks, as I said, like what Mike said a minute ago, like the little things make a big difference. Like the Chessington, I said, just had a lick of paint on it. It's had a revamp, and it just looks really, really good. And it made, like, you go to Thorpe Park, I walk around Thorpe Park and I think this looks old. This looks tired. We just need to revamp it a little bit. And it said, you know, you can't have the missing theme in on rides as well. It just doesn't make, you know, you'd think they'd take, you know, advice from looking at things like Disney or looking at things like their big competitors. Obviously, you don't have the money Disney has, but look at how they do it. You know, look at the little things that they do. Take the advice. That's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I was at Thorpe Park with Mike a couple of weeks ago when we did our challenge video, and I just walked around thinking, oh, this looks tired. This park just looks tired. It looked like, you know, if I was to give it a personality, it looked like an old man that was kind of, you know, his clothes were obviously quite old and a bit outdated, and, you know, and needed some repairs and patching up, and I just thought, this is the most thrilling park in the UK.
Yeah.
And you've let it
get old.
Basically get old, and look, you know, and opening a new coaster, albeit the first Mack Hyper coaster in the UK, isn't going to fix the entire park.
And I want to see, obviously when we don't know what theme that's going to go, but if you're going to put a theme, obviously I assume it's going to be a themed ride, because they've seen what Merlin seems to be good at. Is it going to then make Saw stick out like a sore thumb? Is it going to make certain areas like not fit? Even like in the Burger King, that's like obviously got the old town look to it. You know, that even that just needs a little bit of a retouch, because it still looks like old town when you walk past it. So it's just like some little things. I would be interested to see how is it, or maybe they will, like when they're off season this season, when they're starting to, you know, really finish or start to get along with that project, are they going to start to revamp it and lick things up and make it look good?
That's my hope. I totally love what Sean's saying here, which is that the majority of the rides at Thorpe Park are obviously Apocalypse or meant to be run down, and they still look worse.
Bad. Yeah.
And bad.
I think even,
so,
you know, a couple of years ago, and I don't know if anyone used to remember, saw the ride, used to have the police car, but it used to be not in where it is now. It used to be outside and it had the blood on it. And then the shop was open in that container in the middle. And little things like that brought that area alive. And now it just feels like it's forgotten about. Like the Saw area just looks forgotten about. And I think...
Well, it's kind of out of the way, isn't it now? There's no reason to go really around there unless you're going to Samurai and Saw,
because they're putting a new picnic area, sorry. But I was like, that's just a picnic area. And also, I've never seen anyone bring a picnic to Thorpe Park in my life.
I do. If I'm going with the whole family, which, you know, we do have the odd full family day, obviously cost effective.
Side away isn't nice.
We just bring a picnic, you know. So I welcome those picnic benches, because I think it's a nice idea. However, that's not the only place they've now put picnic benches. They've also done it over by depth charge as well. All of a sudden, all these picnic areas have popped up.
Just popping up. And also the one that's by where, you know, Saw Alive used to be, like literally just down that strip by where Zodiac is and all that sort of area. There's massive picnic area there anyway. So you've got these two picnic areas. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can come in.
Absolutely. Tell her
she can come in. She's in the
say hi.
Come say hi. No, she doesn't want to. That's okay.
Oh, bless her.
You can come back on, it's fine. No, it's the same with the picnic areas and stuff. You've got one picnic area that's next to another one. So then you've got that whole strip of the park that's obviously connects the Zodiac and the entrance to Saw. There's just picnic area and a couple of food places. So I wouldn't, you know, obviously the Saw Alive's not there anymore, but they should put something there. Can you fit a flat ride in that? I don't know. Someone just said future Mrs. Lifthill. Sorry as well.
I'm really sorry. It's Erin, isn't it?
Erin, yeah, that's his name.
Yeah. She'll be forever known to the coastal community as Mrs. Lifthill. You know,
yeah, you're Mrs. Lifthill now. Yeah, she will meet her at some point because I'll force her along at some point. So you'll meet her.
I will absolutely insist on it, because, you know, it's just compulsory.
Yeah, it's compulsory. All your partners have to come at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I even managed last week to drag Karen onto Nervous Chat, which was
yes, I saw clips
an achievement in itself. But I'm going to put it out there now that a quick thank you to everybody. Woo, I saw that.
Yeah, she's just throwing her clothes across the room. I apologise.
Put them in the washing basket. Tidy up after yourself.
I'll put it in the washing basket.
Oh, I see. It's that. It's that, is it?
Yeah, it seems to be that way. It's fine.
Well, there's always one partner that's messy and one partner that does.
I'm actually the messy one. She's the clean freak. Because I'm the messy one usually, but she's like, best not get changed on camera.
based on the evidence I'm seeing right now.
Based on the evidence, maybe not. Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's yeah, as I was about to say, I just want to say a massive thank you actually to all the love that's poured out for Karen ever since she came on the show. It was a massive thing for her to do that show. She gets terrible camera shy and anxiety and everything. She really, really enjoyed doing it. And the amount of people that messaged me afterwards or have found her on Instagram and messaged her and said, you know, it was lovely to see you and we want to meet you now. And so thank you to everybody for making her feel so welcome and so, you know, so liked. Yeah, because obviously she sort of stands in my shadow a lot of the time because I'm the YouTube personality, you know, and she's happy with that and stays out of the way. But I'd love her to be a bit more of in it with me. So everybody made her feel so welcome, and I am so grateful to everybody for that. So I just wanted to slip that in there because I thought it was important to say. And obviously we will offer the same welcome to Erin when she's ready.
Yeah, she'll be. We'll make her a theme park enthusiast. That's the aim. We'll get there.
Yeah. 100%. I can see her opening day for Exodus.
Yep, opening day Exodus.
Yeah. Start big. Go straight in for a Mack hypercoaster. Bang. Why not?
Yes, that's the way to do it.
But so yeah. The other one, while we're talking about Nemesis, I don't know whether you've seen much about it, is this viewing platform that's been opened. I've got to say,
You can't even see
looks
anything.
exactly.
That's what I saw a
Completely
video. I think they
pointless.
posted about it. Yeah, it was yesterday or the day before that.
Yeah, yeah.
And they obviously like this video of them going sitting like you can't see anything. That's why I was a bit like, okay.
Apparently you can see more from the monorail and more of the monorail from the viewing platform.
Yeah,
So
you
not
can see the monorail.
anything to do with Nemesis. And I'm kind of like, I think the marketing that Alton Towers are doing around this rebrand and relaunch and retrack and everything has been absolutely phenomenal. The Phalanx lorries turning up with the track.
Yes, I love that.
Been, the video of that coming out has been absolutely amazing. And I think, they've really, really gone all out. And then they've let themselves down with this viewing platform.
It's got a TV with a screen on it, and I think someone's standing at the front of it. But I think because they also showed the video of showing it, and it was like, and I was like, you can't really see anything like at all.
Yeah,
you can see more around the back of Galactica than you can see on this viewing platform. So it's like, I don't understand the point of it.
Yeah, it's they have let themselves down, I feel, with that. I think it is disappointing. I've not visited myself, but having spoken to a couple of people now that have, it just seems like it's a great marketing idea.
Yeah, the idea is there,
wasn't thought out.
Yeah, I think the same thing.
I think
a coming time though, the marketing's good. They just said the lorries turning up with the pieces and that looks great. And I think that's really good, and I love the whole thing of it. But they made a really big deal out of this platform, and then they kept talking about it. So I was like, okay, I could see when it was being constructed, and obviously it looks like a couple of planks and all that sort of thing. And then I was like, okay, maybe it would be a really good view from there. And they showed it, and I was like, well, you can't really see anything because the monorail is right in front of it. You can see the old Lifthill, but you can't see any of the track where it's going to be placed. So it's kind of a bit like, I'm not really sure why they did it. If that makes any sense.
It's as we say, I think it was a great idea. Personally, they could have saved themselves a fortune, just taken some of the boards down that are in Forbidden Valley.
Put a window. Do you remember the Wickerman? They had windows.
That's right. Yeah. And just put some perspex windows in, and that would have kept everybody happy.
So looking for those little gaps when everyone's like peeking through the little closed gates.
Because that's what everybody does at Thorpe Park. They peer through that where the gate is, where the lock is. They either peer through there, or you can see enthusiasts on the floor peering under the gate.
I've got my GoPro and I put it above the things. I could see over the top.
That's what I did. I've got a video up, and I think I just called it a sneak peek over the fence or something.
Yeah.
And it was done literally with an extendable selfie stick with my camera up on the top, and I just literally went like this.
And that's what I did. That's what I did as well.
But got the video and just whacked it up, sort of thing, But it's that's just people will find ways of seeing stuff, and I just think maybe the platform was an expense they could have spared themselves.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a I don't really know why they kind of done it. I think maybe if it looked, do they not look at it themselves and go, well, we can't really see much, maybe not bother. But so they made a massive deal out of this little platform, and then obviously it didn't execute the way I think they'd hoped it had.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's quite lived up to its expectations. But
no.
But I mean, I don't know that it won't become
it could
better.
Do. Yeah, when there's more track that goes in, it might start to look a little bit more.
What I'm wondering is, have they opened it too hastily?
Mm-hmm.
And
too soon.
Maybe they should have waited a little bit longer, and then things would be there'd be more to see. But
selfie sticks are for short people.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Next time I'm at Thorpe Park with you, I'm just going to hop on your shoulders.
That's what I was about to say. On his shoulders.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll get a great view then. It won't be a problem at all.
It's for the free tracking process. Yeah, hopefully.
As we just said, you heard it here first. It may not have been first, but me and Lauren have got it sorted. We know what's going on. We're in tune with Merlin. We know what they're doing.
It's got the insides.
Yeah. So obviously that was the Nemesis thing. I don't know how often you've been to Blackpool and whether you've kept abreast of the Valhalla situation. You've never
Yeah,
been?
I've never had the chance to go because obviously it's quite far away, and so I don't drive yet. I'm in the process of getting on. Got my theory test tomorrow actually. On
Ooh,
that sort of yeah, the big one. So I'm on that
you'll
process with
smash
that,
it.
but fingers crossed. But I think the Valhalla thing. So obviously I've had a look at because I heard people talking about it, so I had a look at some of the old point of views of it and just sort of seeing. It's hard to see from the point of view really what fully goes on the inside areas. But obviously it's open for technical rehearsals at the moment, isn't it? So um, from what I've seen of a couple of people's vlogs and what people are saying, like the technical rehearsals, obviously it's okay. Like it's not what people expected, but and it's also one of those things. It's if they've, I think they even opened it too early for technical rehearsals. By the sounds of it, could have left it a little bit longer. But I think there was a lot of pressure. From what the sounds of it, a lot of people were pressuring them to open it as soon as possible. By the sounds of what the comments and people are like, when's it going to open? When's this happening? So I think they want to do it now and let people know the rehearsal was going down. But
Yeah, I think all in all, it was an absolutely, it was a disaster of a revamp, if you like. It's taken too long. You've
yes,
had
couple of years, isn't it?
I think it's been closed 4 years. I think 2019 was the last time it operated. It's caused rifts between Amanda Thompson and her board. She's been undermining the company and the park and everything else on Twitter publicly, criticizing her own park, which is just to me,
Should sell it, to be honest. And this is a controversial thing to say, but I think they should sell. And I think, do you know what? And if Merlin's got the money, I've always thought if they stepped in to somewhere like Blackpool, I don't know if they would put it up for sale, but if Merlin stepped into somewhere like Blackpool, with obviously the amount of money they must have at the moment, because looking at all these attractions that are starting to open, like the liquor paint certain parts and all of these things, they could really turn that place around. Like
yeah,
I think they could, because I haven't been there, and obviously Icon sticks out like a sore thumb because it's new, it's good, and people love
yeah,
it. But the
yeah.
rest of the park looks like, I don't think I'd even go on some of those wooden roller coasters because they look like I would die on it. Have you ever watched like Final Destination? You ever seen the one where that roller coaster one? The rides there remind me of that, and I think I'm not going on that.
Yeah.
I like my body in one tact. Also, thank you for everyone who's saying good luck as well.
I've
that.
done all but 2 of the roller coasters at Blackpool, and I can honestly tell you, the only one that I would happily go back and re-ride without hesitation is Icon.
Mm-hmm.
The others were all rough, rickety, just and again, it's another part. Looks tired, looks disjointed. I get the nostalgia that a lot of people have for it. It's been around for such a long time, and I get that's probably why Amanda Thompson won't sell it, because it's been in her family forever. But
She could sell and be on board with it. Do you know what? That's one of those things. It's like they could sell it to someone and then still be on the board.
Exactly.
I live, so obviously I live in Kent. I live about 20 minutes away from Dreamland, and Dreamland closed for years. Like it closed, obviously everyone knows it had the fire that the guy tried to set it on, like what's it called? Oh my god, my brain's just gone. What's the roller coaster there called? Someone in the comments will know it.
If you can think of the name of the roller coaster,
yeah,
Dreamland,
it'll come to me in a minute. But obviously that had a whole revamp, and obviously they've modernised the look of the park. They've been updating it regularly, new rides. It's still got the retro look to it. That's what I like. It still has this retro look, but it looks so new and crisp now. And I think if they'd just done the same thing for something like Blackpool, I know Blackpool's a lot bigger than obviously what Dreamland is, but Scenic Railway, that's what it's called now. I think my brain went for a moment. It does make the difference, and I think because Dreamland's obviously the really local one to me, they're adding new roller coaster to it soon, and someone grumpy just put it there as well, and it's just lick of paint again. We're going back to the simple basics of just putting those things. But Blackpool, it's about Valhalla and stuff. To be closed for 4 years and then nothing to really change or it not to be impressive. There's no. And I'm not a critic and all that stuff, but there's no excuse for that, really. I don't think you can have a ride closed for that long and not do enough for it. And then to open it, say it's opening early after 4 years with technical rehearsals and it still not be good. Like, what's gonna change in the technical rehearsals to it being officially open? What's gonna change? Nothing. I think, And I said, I understand that keeping it in the family and all, but I haven't been there. And the reason I haven't travelled there is because it looks so tired. And going all that way to like just for to ride Icon, for example, it just doesn't feel worth that. I think getting even getting investors on board, you know, because we were at Chessington on Tuesday, me and Grumpy, and there was a big group of people in posh suits and stuff walking around that theme park, looking around, and like not looking around as like looking like investors or looking like someone important, because we were watching them for quite a while. And they'll be given a tour of like just out the Jumanji area, or Jumanji, I can't ever say it right. And then all that sorts of area. And they were giving a full down talk, and that looked like it. They said they had a lot of money on them, and you could tell they did.
Do you reckon that might be the owners of the Jumanji franchise? Possibly?
I don't know.
I imagine they would want to see it because obviously, you know, it's operating under their IP.
Yeah, it was because they were looking around all parts of the park. So they did stop there for a while, and they were watching it because it was testing. Mandrill was testing, and they were there. They went on Dragon's Fury as well when we were there. But you know, you could tell they were very rich, and there was a big group of people, maybe about 30 of them.
Yeah,
and they were walking all around the park all day, getting tours and being spoken to by people in suits who already worked there. So
wow,
it was noticeable. It was not.
Yeah,
it was quiet that day. It was Tuesday, so there was no one there as well, and it was noticeable. They stuck out like a sore thumb. So we were interested to say. I wanted to ask. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to go and just be like, "What is it? You know, are you part of what's opening? Are you investing money? Are you buying?" These sorts of things, you know. Interesting.
Because I think that brings us nicely onto Chessington, of course, and
yes,
the investment that has gone on there, and I'm not just talking Jumanji World.
It's my favourite part this year.
As you highlighted earlier, there's been a sustained program of park rejuvenation. It started in the closed season last year.
Yes.
I remember going to Chessington last year and thinking, this has all been repainted. This has been rethemed, and I think it started with Wild Asia. Because that looked very tired. That was probably one of the worst areas.
It needs to be stripped, that area. I think they need to retheme that area. That's the only part of the park I would say change a little bit.
Yeah, but what they had done to it looked better. They even down to the little stone elephants had been painted with color, and I was just like, it's those little touches again. It's the detail.
It makes a difference.
It makes such a big difference, and it made the whole area just look so much better.
Yeah, we came into the main entranceway, and even like the where the Hocus Pocus used to be, obviously the Room in the Broom one now, and all that sort of areas. Yeah. The plants look fresh, the grass looks like cut well. It just looks like you're walking into a really nice new clean park. And I said like with like appearance makes a difference with those sorts of things. And Chessington is, out of what I've been to this season, I've only been to 3 of them this season. I haven't been anyone else yet, but Chessington by far run away with it for me. 100%.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet this season. However, what I have been doing is obviously following the likes of Sophia Park Life, who's been on the show, who literally, well, she might as well live at Chessington. I think she's there every other day or something.
Don't blame her. It's good.
But the things I've seen there, you know, even down to little things like new walkways, they've all been completely redone with that like gravel, but with the like rubberized glue, isn't it, that they put over it. So they're all much nicer and much more level. So that's going to be much easier for wheelchairs, push chairs, people with walking difficulties.
I know it sounds really silly, but I just even saw in the bathrooms, well, the toilets had children's seats that go down, so they can, like, even little things like touches like that. Even at Legoland, they didn't have those on I saw last time. So
no.
Grumpy didn't convert me to Chessington. It just looks so good, and I felt it just. I said the theme parks are tired at the moment in the UK, and I think when you go go to Europe, they just look so much nicer to walk into. I think Portaventura is one of those that I've been to, and I think it's, you go every land in there, it looks incredible, especially like the old Western Town look to it. It's brilliant. They've run away with it, and they keep it clean though. That's the thing, they keep these things clean. And I think as well, what I think some of the parks should be doing more is an entertainment focus, because it's great to have, you know, these areas, but put some entertainment that fits that area in it. I know things like Chessington has the superheroes that I watched the other day, and like that's great. It's a nice little touch for kids and all that stuff. But have something around every sort of areas of the park. And I think they do it for the kids as well. But I think Fort Park misses out on that a little bit. They've also got their filmmakers, and I know quite a lot of them. They're great and they do their job well. But like, could they theme that more to different areas? Could they? That's not just events, because obviously we know the events are different times of the years, but just when they're not off the event season, I think just the entertainment thing really makes difference to parks as well.
Yeah, I agree. But would you agree? It could just be me, because maybe I've taken a bit more notice of them this year, and obviously, as that lovely video that Mike made shows, I interacted with the filmmakers. The filmmakers sing better this year.
Yes. I think from what I know of, they definitely have put an investment into, the management of that team and actually getting people on board that, are good at bringing energy out of people. I said I know quite a few of the filmmakers at Fort Park, and I speak to them on regular, and like, all of them are just great personalities, are great people on board there. Those sorts of levels of people. And I think when they've got that energy, it brings it out. They're not afraid to be like, have a laugh, make a fool of themselves. Like, that's what you need. And so they didn't. And also the filmmakers haven't been there for like many years. I said only the last 2 years are really kind of keeping them consistent. But I said when you see them, you can't help but have a laugh. I was singing down a microphone like an idiot, and I can't sing for hell. And everyone has a laugh about it. So it's a good thing.
I must admit, I obviously I had to dance with them as a challenge, but I enjoyed that so much that I think I would now happily dance with them. And having interacted with Gigi was her stage name. I'm not going to give out personal details.
Of course.
For obviously privacy and etc. But she was amazing, and I found her on Instagram and reached out to her and was like, oh, thank you so much for doing that, because it was brilliant. You didn't have to do it. I totally appreciate it. Would you like me to send you the link once the videos are made? And she was like, oh yeah, please, I'd love to see that. I sent her the link, so she's watched Mike's video, and actually now the development we are in the process of arranging is a Nervous Chat episode with the thrill makers.
That would be brilliant. Yeah, that would be really good.
That's in the pipeline. At the very least, it will be the young lady that I danced with in the video. She's committed 100%.
Yep.
She's now going to try and persuade a few of the others to join as well, which would be absolutely amazing.
I'll get on board and persuade them for you if you want me to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Tell them what a great show it is and how much fun they're going to have. Obviously, I've had young lad Kirby has been on the show already, and I know he's part of the Ghost Train team going forward and this year, and he's also going to be Fright Nights again. So so that'd be great. And but yeah, just to get them on board, and in order to maintain balance before Grumpy jumps up and down about his superheroes or whatever they're called, I have reached out to the only member of the superheroes that I can find on Instagram, and obviously offered them to come onto the show to fight their corner and tell me why they think they are better than the thrill makers. And I think it could make for quite interesting.
Little rivalry going on.
Interesting debate.
The reason I know a few of them is like because obviously I do photography, and a lot of where my photography even came from was portraits. So like me doing photos of them, it's usually where they see it, hashtag them, they see it, and then after can you send me your photos and all this sort of stuff. And then I think they will ask me to come back for Mardi Gras and all that stuff, like because we want more photos. So it's like it's a good way to get in with the parks as well, and so they do make the awful lot of difference to the atmosphere of what's coming up as well. And I think it's Fright Night is where they do it best. So I think we can all say that as a definite, Fright Night, they go out above and beyond for their performances and whatever area they're in. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't enjoy Fright Night last year at all. It's I used to go when, I don't know if anyone remembers this, a couple of years ago, and you spend like £30 and you go do Cabin in the Woods, My Bloody Valentine, all those sort of ones, like the original Blair and all those ones like that. So that used to be really good. But I've been going to, it's a bit off topic, but I've been going to Shocktoberfest, Tully Shocktoberfest, and you
Yeah.
go there and you see what they do there and the levels they go to, and then you come back to Thorpe Park and you go, yeah. So
I think for me, it was the realization of how bad Fright Nights was, because I agree with you. Fright Nights last year, it was the first scare mazes I'd ever done, and actually I did all the scare mazes. I think, well, bar one. I couldn't do the attic at Alton Towers because it was sold out on the day I was there.
that's brilliant.
But I did the other three that were there. I did all the scare mazes and experiences at Thorpe Park, and did the Creepy Caves final episode, and obviously Vile Villages walkthrough. And I came away with no change of mind about who does the best Halloween. I gave it away there. Halloween. Chesington by far absolutely slaughtered the others. Creepy Caves, brilliant. Actually really scary, considering it's
that's award winning, that one as well.
Yeah. I don't think that the ending was the best year last year. I think when I did it in 2019, which I think was its first year, it was terrifying, literally terrifying. Nightcaz, thanks for joining. See you soon. But I believe that there was the after hours version of Creepy Caves last year was particularly scary, and that the Vile Villagers after hours was terrifying. And that's come from Chesington, a family park, and I was genuinely scared in Creepy Caves again. I wouldn't say
you get to knock on a couple of doors,
Well, I think for me the scariest attraction was Death's Doors, and that was the free thing.
It's just from when I think with Fright Night, it's one of those things because it's been so iconic for years. I've been going. I did the Asylum, so I've been going. I went when I was 11. I've been there, and I've always loved horror. So I've done the Asylum, the original ones, and I've been on the Big Top every year. Ones that are showstoppers, absolute showstoppers, and they haven't had a showstopper maze for years. Since they got rid of the Big Top, I don't think trailers were showstopping. I didn't see anyone the whole way through that. It's great on media days; they have loads of people in there, but when there's no one in there. And then I think it's when you had that expectation that it's going to be what it is and it's not, and you're paying an extra 40 quid just to get on them, and you get to do them once, it's like, it's not the same.
Agreed. I actually felt robbed of my 30 whatever it was quid I paid. Survival games, trash, awful. Looks like it I'm going to use the term here now, pound shop scare maze. Because that's how it came across to me. The chainsaw, I can't remember what it's called now. Creek Freak Massacre. I thought they would want to go out with a bang. They went out with a flop. And trailers, I just didn't get it. It's so
I've done trailers, and I think I liked it. Then it had the Big Top part was great. It was a little bit exciting to have it, but I didn't get anything really so much from it. I do feel like we complained about a lot this episode, but it's fine. But it's just I think there's just it's not even having major changes to these sorts of things. It's just the little bits that what Mike said earlier. The simple things make a difference, and I think they're just scratching and missing, just going just to the left of the point of the things. And once you've with any event or anything, just too far to the left, you just miss the initial difference those things make. And I said regarding this earlier because someone was mentioning about the curse. I'm actually going to praise this because loads of people don't like it, and I think the curse was brilliant. I actually really enjoy it. I think
agreed.
It's one of those, for the short period of time they've had, the short budget they've had to revamp Jewel completely into something that's got a concept. The effects, I think, they're not all necessarily working. They've obviously added things as they've gone along. I think is really good. It's not meant to be, I'm actually shaking in my boots kind of thing. It's not. But I think it's really good. And I think they can add to it. It's not something they can't stop adding to. They can add little bits to it. The cheap cut out though at the front of the things. Look, we were talking about this. Poppy, Sean were talking about this at the top. The little cut out at the top doesn't look very good. They should probably change that. But I think it's a good ride. We went on it loads,
Yeah.
and I actually think it's quite a good dark ride. I think people put the expectations too high for these sorts of things. You know, it's short budget, short period of time to actually come up with something. It's not going to be a Disney showstopper. And I think that's what people expect these dark rides to become, like a Disney showstopper or like, you know, a universal level because they want them to be, but they just don't. Think about how much money Merlin are spending in other places and other areas with, like, you know, the Mandrill Mayhem opening, and obviously all towers are going to have a new secret weapon that's coming. So they just don't have the money to go and splashing out on a new scene. They just revamped it to a new area. It brings footfall to that area that needed, because Jewel wasn't bringing that footfall at all.
No,
and obviously the little milkshake thing opposite is really, you know, that goes with it as well. So I think what they've done in that short period of time, it's good. I will praise that an awful lot, and I just think people have been a little bit too harsh on it or not giving it a chance that it should be given.
I agree. I totally agree. In fact, for me, I judge it on the fact that the biggest criticism I have is stock in the shop.
Yeah.
And sort of some of the random things that they've sold. However, they do a beautiful plum-coloured Cursor Alton Manor t-shirt, which
I think Poppy bought that. Yeah,
Poppy's got it as well. Yeah, it's lovely. It's a really lovely t-shirt. I absolutely loved it. Disappointed there wasn't a pin badge, but I believe there is now.
Yes, so it's got a mirror on it, isn't it? Yeah, I think I've seen it.
I'm going back to get that at some point soon.
I think what Sean was saying about the curse, the one thing that would make it better, do you know, obviously the queue before you go onto the ride, make it, as he's saying just now, close the queue off in that section, let people stand around the outside, watch the 20-second pre-show, so they've got a concept of what's going on the ride. Because if you're walking through that, you're catching a little glance of it, you're not really, the queue doesn't really, outside doesn't give it away as such. So if you can let people just stand there for that 20 seconds just to watch the little pre-show, and then just get the little big groups moving through like that, I think they'll just give a little bit more context for what you're going to go into, I think, as well. Because at the moment it's a bit...
Do you think, though, maybe one of the reasons why people are going through it so quickly is because it doesn't look terribly different to how that room looked when it was Jewel?
Yes.
And that maybe they're just making so they haven't changed this then, and off they go.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you say, they have changed it. I mean, that little doll's house, just that little VT going on there, that mapping, and I mean, that mesmerizes me. It's amazing.
And also when the curse comes out of her and the whole room glows in the dark, and all the writing on the walls, I think that's brilliant. And little things like, so just if you just like the Wickerman pre-show, just have that little bit of a pre-show in there. It still make the ride go fast in. And then it's just context. The context makes the difference. I think people go on there and confused. If you go through that section and you walk straight on that ride and you don't see that pre-show, it's not... You can get the idea of the ride, but it's not getting the full idea of the picture of the ride. And I think that will just make a little difference.
It's not as immersive.
No, of course.
It won't be, it then lacks something. Like you say, it lacks that connection of what exactly is going on and
what's happening, what the storyline is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I agree. I think batching people in that area,
into that section, and then just letting them go through.
And then just letting them go through would be it would be great, because the pre-show is amazing. I agree with Sean here. It's a very good pre-show. It's been very cleverly written, and the mapping in, as I say, in the doll's house. I mean, that's the bit I'm most impressed about is that doll's house bit.
It looks
I
really
loved
good.
it. I think I've filmed it like 3 times now.
I've got it on film, my account. Yeah. Another thing I'll say is that the front of the thing with the little cutout, get rid of that cutout. Put a TV, and do the eye that she's got for in the dollhouse near the end.
Yes.
Have that on the outside.
Yeah.
And it would look brilliant.
Yeah.
It would look brilliant. Yeah. That's what, just a little thing, because she's looking out the house, and I just think that that would make it look really good as well. Yeah,
I agree. I suppose the final thing we need to talk about, of course, is Jumanji.
Yes.
First of all, are you excited about it? As an adult roller coaster enthusiast, does it excite you?
It does excite me. I saw it on Tuesday testing for the first time, and I didn't know what I was going to expect seeing it. because I'd like, it's great pictures, but seeing it in person is great. And obviously it was testing when we were there. For what Chessington have originally, you've got two major coasters there. You've got Vampire, and obviously you've got Dragon's Fury, which are two very different rides. From what I went on Vampire recently, it's so sore and it's like jolting all the time, which means that needs a retrack or needs to go. One of the two. I don't want it to go. Maybe just a retrack, hopefully.
No.
But kids now, as we say about children, they want something a little bit more thrilling. I think my sister's 10 and she wants to go. She's tall enough to go on Stealth and she wants to do all that stuff now. But to have a roller coaster there that's still for kids, that goes upside down, it's a little bit different from what else there is in the UK. Obviously, you're not expecting 80 miles an hour ride because it's for children. But I think from what they've already got there, brilliant. I think the footfall will be split quite well as well. Obviously, the Dragon's Fury is quite next to it, so it might be a bit of an issue. But even having the two little rides in that area, I just think it'll be really good. I'm excited to see sort of what experience of being on it feels like as well. But I do think it looks really good. I can't criticise them for that one.
Night, Jamie. Thank you for joining.
Yes,
speak to you soon. So I'll safe journey home from wherever you've been.
Yes.
I think you've been in London, haven't you, celebrating your birthday? Although I thought you would come home since then, but maybe not. I agree with what Beth and Andy are saying here, though, about it depends what excites you. Great for Chessington, as you've just identified. Great for that.
It's we've got to realise, and I think this is what people say as enthusiasts. We've got to see this from a public perspective as well. I think we can't always looking at things via enthusiasts, because what we all see is we're very critical. We're very critical, but what you got to see it from a Merlin perspective and a public perspective. And a Merlin perspective, it's going to increase footfall of Chessington. It's going to bring a depth to Chessington that they didn't have for a while, because it's a slightly new, exciting coaster for little children. It's not, I want to see I don't know what the restriction heights will be, but we'll see. Maybe 1.2. 1.2. So exactly. So it's not that, it's good for starting out coasters. It's first inversion that kids can go on and all that thing. So I think when you look at it from not so much of an enthusiast perspective, because obviously we like everything that's brilliant and all that stuff, but I think one, it's B&M, it will last for a long time. It's a wing coaster, it's smooth, people love wing coasters, Swarm's a popular hit, and for Chessington's perspective, it's probably one of the best additions they're going to have for a long time. And I think the footfall will increase. The park looks great. It's had a new repaint for it. So, I can't criticise it from a marketing perspective, and obviously their public and their footfall perspective. It's going to be bring new people in and actually get children more into bigger rides as well, because that's for Merlin, that's probably what they're looking to do, having younger children get into those more upside down coasters earlier. They can start going to Fort Park when they're getting a bit bigger. They can start going to Alton Towers to go to the bigger rides. It should increase footfall for other places as well. So that's I think they've done a very good job on that front of it as well.
I think, like you say, having a child who is 1.2 who is a bit bored of roller coasters that don't go upside down, is nowhere near ready for the likes of Nemesis, Inferno, that kind of thing, needs a step up coaster.
That is the step up coaster. Yep.
That's the step up coaster. And for me, that excites me because it excites him.
It excites me as well, because I think that's what they needed.
Exactly. As a father of a child who's dying to get on something a bit more intense, a bit scarier, then I think it's the perfect addition, and it excites me for that perspective. And I think, Chessington has been exciting me over the last couple of years because of the money they seem to be spending. They invested in Croc Drop.
Croc Drop's brilliant as well.
I missed Ramesses Revenge. I wasn't brave enough to ever get on that, and I'm sad about that. But I think I used to love watching it. But Croc Drop, great themed ride, and when it's all fully working with the audio, the soundtrack,
it's spinning at the moment,
and the spin, it's amazing. It is a great addition to the park. But they haven't stopped there. They've gone right.
They've added a mini log flume in there as well. And I know Drayton's adding the same one, but me and Sean were saying when we were there, you look at Wild Asia, right? Wild Asia is such potential to increase even more footfall. If you take out the monkey swing, or you take out the dodgems, you take out obviously the shooting one, temples, I think, And then you can put something big in there as well, even like an Indiana Jones themed Disney ride. That's a catalog coaster. It can't be that expensive. I couldn't imagine it being that expensive. But then you've got something that fits that theme, and it's another more potential to get more money through the door. So I think if they start looking at those areas and at the dodgems and stuff, and obviously don't want to make it too adult, but just pushing even to get a flat ride that pushes the boundaries a little bit more for children, because children are getting to that age, they want a bit more thrill. They want that step up, and it's giving that step up.
I totally agree. And I was having a conversation actually with somebody the other day, and I said, we were talking about if there was a one ride that you had to get rid of at Chesington as it stands and replace with something else, what would that ride be? For me, you just hit the nail on the head. And when I said, oh, the Dodgems, and initially they said, what, there's Dodgems there?
They're so hidden, you don't even see it.
Exactly.
The monkey swing doesn't squirt water anymore, so it's not fun.
Does it not?
No, it wasn't working when I was there. It wasn't when I was there.
It's ride op operated.
Okay.
There's a button in the ride op's cabin.
Because that's what made it fun. I think that's what made it fun, and you get absolutely soaked on it. But I said just even the Dodgems is just not worth having there. And there's just a few even other flat rides they can place in those areas. But I said Chesington's got a lot of potential, and I think having, and I'll just say about having the Jumanji Land. Am I saying that right? I never say it right. It's one of those words I can't ever say it right.
I think it is right. Yeah.
But they've got this step up ride in there, so they've got unpopular Dodgems don't belong at a theme park. No, they don't. They're a carnival ride. Agree with that one, Host Dog.
Yeah, actually, Coast Dog, it's not unpopular at all. I totally agree with you.
It's like retro rides at Alton Towers. Get those gone. But it's just, sorry, what I was saying about having, have Mandrill Mayhem. So you've got a ride there that's a step up for kids, but they've also got the Stampeder and they've got the Mamba Strike there. 2 rides that are still child based, which means you've got this new step up ride in there, but there's still things for younger children to still go on in a new area. And I think that's what makes that area thrilling before the park, because they've got the step up and then they've got ones for kids or smaller kids as well. So they're still putting that into mindful when they're putting this new area in there as well.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think, it's Wild Asia is missing out now, because apart from Cobra, which, everybody loves a Zamperla Disco. They're popular. They're still popular to this day. New ones are still being installed in parks because they're so popular. That's fine.
Cheap.
Keep Cobra. I love Cobra. Monkey Swinger, I enjoy it. But if it meant something better
was in there, and
I would
get rid
sacrifice
of it.
I would sacrifice it.
And the shooting thing next to it that's never on, get rid of that. The temple or something like it's called.
The number of times we've been there and I've gone on Cobra before Gabriel even reached 1.2. I'd go on Cobra and he would go, oh, can I go and play in the Temple Mayhem or whatever it is? And it wasn't working. And so then he'd be a bit disappointed, and it would just copy
and paste Lost City at THROPE and chuck it in Wild Asia. Yeah, that works. Yeah, that works. 100%.
But as you say, I think Jumanji World, Jumanji Land,
be good.
Jumanji World.
Can I just say though, anyone who's going to buy merch for that, because I've just bought the gilet, the blue one for it. So me and Grumpy went. I don't know how tall Grumpy, like 6'2" or 3, I want to say. Could be wrong. He might burst his ego there. But he put on the black small one, and it fit him perfectly. I put on the child. I'm 5'7", so I'm about above average woman's height. I'm quite slim, but I fit the child's 12 to 13 gilet perfectly. And I'm like, the sizing is so off. Like it doesn't, it fits me per a child's 12 to 13. And my partner Erin, for example, she's 5'2" and she's very petite. She'd probably fit a size 10. So it's just that the sizes are completely off, and I think that's something
I'm gonna have to have a look at that, because I'm
you'll see what I mean when you put it on.
Slim and quite short, so I actually wore a child's suit for my wedding. Put that one.
The sizing just completely. Merlin has always been like that with their sizing; it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, it's really funny, isn't it? And they rarely do extra smalls, which is my usual go-to.
Alton Towers do. Thorpe Park doesn't.
Yeah. So
Thorpe Park merch is hard to buy.
if you're at Thorpe Park, you can't be any smaller than small.
Nope. And that's massive on me.
Yeah, their smalls are big. I buy their smalls, but yeah, I use them as more casual, baggier sort of t-shirts, whereas the Alton Towers ones fit better,
Yes.
and look smarter because of that. You know,
Yep.
it's little things, isn't it? But
Little things make
better
difference
fit,
again.
little things make a big difference. There you go. See, I'm also a little bit disappointed to hear that the Jumanji merchandise is only a 10% discount as well with Merlin.
Yes, that was what I didn't
artists.
realise that until I went to buy it. And she said at first they said they didn't have a discount, and I was a bit like, okay. And then they went, oh no, the manager stepped in. He was like, no, it's only 10%. And obviously that's because it's not fully owned by them in that area. So obviously it's only must be the reason it's only 10%.
They pulled the same stunt with the Gruffalo stuff.
Call the Navy Colossus hoodie, the Lauren hoodie now. Yeah, that is my hoodie.
When
I did that for the Colossus Coaster Climb as well, wearing that.
You did, yes. Yeah, the Gruffalo stuff is only a 10% discount as well. So they've pulled this stunt before, when it's not their franchise, fully owned by them, they reduce the discount to 10%.
Because they obviously have to, I think they pay those attractions to be there as well. So
you see,
do you think with the Gruffalo as well, when they run out that contract, what's going to go there? Because they can't have the Gruffalo there when they lose that contract and then that runs out and they don't renew it. The Room and Broom's one you can change very quickly, but the Gruffalo, then you'd have to re-strip everything out again.
Yeah.
To have a Bubbleworks reborn instead.
They might do it. They might.
I've got the tattoo. I've got a picture of myself because obviously I've got, as you can see, on that side of my arm, the Bubble Maker tattoo I've got.
Yeah.
So I used to love it when I was a kid. So I'll have a revamp of that, please.
Yes. Yeah, that would be great actually. Grumpy's saying about, is it the same on all IP merchandise? No.
No, because Saw the Ride isn't, is it?
Saw merchandise is 20% discount.
It is.
So it does seem to be very.
But they've had that Lionsgate contract for years. Like that was 2009. So I wonder if that's just a permanent one rather than a.
And the
timed.
The Walking Dead merchandise as well is also 20% discount.
Yes.
So it's not all IP merch. It just seems to be more recent IPs. So
yes,
CBeebies, Andy is right. CBeebies is only a 10% discount as well on their merchandise.
I wonder if it's agreed in a contract that they sign or something. It might be.
I imagine it must be.
Yeah,
it's either that or it's the cost of the IP itself. It's it's just it dictates what's going on. Well, I think we've just about covered pretty much everything we set out to cover, which is pretty impressive in an hour and a half.
Yes.
But obviously I am aware that you are under time constraints, so I was determined I'll get it wrapped up for you.
No worries.
In an hour and a half. I know there's so much more we could talk about, and it's always such a pleasure.
We've got the podcast for that, so we'll get that on.
Yes. Oh God, it's gonna be a moan, isn't it? I can just see it. I was also
gonna
talking actually.
Like Mike had Thorpe Park watching you like hawks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was also having a chat with Sean about a possibility of a series of Merlin moans or something like that, we could call it, where him and I will just get together once a month, do a live stream, and just literally run out all the moans we've had for the month, everything that we've come across that's made us go, oh, for God's sake, or I
got a good one. The rap cues.
Oh, do you know what? Next week, actually, that nicely ties into next week. I've got a channel coming on called Adventures with Autism. Lovely family. I've followed them for a while. They're not massive YouTube family. They just video their days out and everything else. And I'm going to talk to them about rap. So next week could be slightly controversial, maybe, because obviously we're going to be talking about rap, which always opens up a massive debate.
It's one of those things as well, because I remember when we was on tour and I started to get very agitated, and unfortunately, like when I get agitated, I think I'm quite aggressive, and it's not any fault of my own. It's just the way that my brain's unfortunately wired, and
absolutely.
Like it's one of those things you don't want to be in the vicinity of, me when I feel like that at all. It's not, and it's something that Thorpe Park needs to just be a bit more considerate. And I don't have to say this, and with the wraps are being given out, they're not being monitored. And I would say about Alton Towers, and I will praise them for Alton Towers, they actually check your card, that you have to have your card on you in order to be able to use your wrap. Thorpe Park do not do that, and I've seen like many groups of also like, so like you need to be someone that at least passes, you have to have a carer over the age of 18. Mine's one of those, have to be someone over the age of 18. I've seen groups of the 13-year-olds using it, and it's like in situations that you need to be emergency evacuated, do they have someone that can assist them off the ride? And the answer is no. So they're not, it needs to just be looked at a little bit more in depth. And so I won't go into it now, but obviously have a look at that next week when you do that, but it just needs to be better.
Please be in the live chat, because
I will. I'm sure I will be.
And to come in and comment and obviously and get, because I'm almost certain that they're going to have some horror stories to tell about.
I've had some,
because you've had the experiences. I've had them myself with Karen, who has wrap too. So yeah, and Kate, I agree. But we'll keep that one for next week. So please join me next week.
I will do. Definitely.
We're going to open that can of worms. We're going to get it out there. I don't care what your view is on wrap. I want to hear it, because I think it's important we get it out there and we talk about it like adults, rather than just moaning about it on social media.
100%. Definitely.
Let's have a constructive discussion about it. And
I'm sure I'll do one of the podcasts and talking about it as well at some point, just so people can insights. We'll do it with a not specific part naming, but we'll obviously have those conversations, because some people who necessarily need that, myself and other people I know, I sometimes just don't go because I can't handle being in it. So it's one of those things, it's how it goes. We'll talk about it. There's a lot to say. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that might even be a two-parter. So I think it's good. It's a good one to do as well. So right, I'm gonna let you go, because I know you're poor Erin's got to get off to bed.
That's okay. There's no worries.
Work in the morning, and I appreciate it's I've got work in the morning as well. Actually, bloody teachers' strikes. I've got to go in at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't normally start till 1, so that's going to be a bit of a painful start. But Lauren, thank you so much for coming in tonight. It's been amazing. I won't leave it 6 months next time, because I think 6 months was too long. We'll do it again very soon. I don't even know that actually. Maybe we start some kind of thing together.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. 100%.
Doing once a month live stream or something, because I think
I'm quite a chatty person. Me. I don't shut up usually.
Well, you and me both, as we discovered when we went to Thorpe Park, we've both got a lot to say. But I've really enjoyed it. It's been amazing.
Yeah, of course, it's been amazing. Thank you for having me again. Definitely.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure, and I honestly mean that. And I will speak to you very soon, probably tomorrow at some point. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.
Yes, I'll see you soon. See you later. Thank you, everyone.
Bye for now. Bye. There we go. Lifthill Lauren. What an absolute legend she is. And I didn't even mention that I had the pleasure of meeting her at Thorpe Park a few weeks back, and she is every bit the person in real life that she comes across as on screen, which is always amazing to when you get to meet people in real life, to find out that they are who they attain to be on social media. Just leaves me to say thank you so much for joining me tonight, those of you that are in the live chat, and for contributing. Thank you so much to Nick for modding for me tonight at such short notice. Thank you for all the comments and the questions and joining the chat. And I hope I can see you all next week at 8 o'clock when, as I said, Adventures with Autism are going to come in, and we're going to be talking about vlogging and dealing with theme parks with when you have special educational needs, and also wrap. So please join me 8 o'clock next week, right here, same place, same time. But until then, I will see you very soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Oh, poor Jerry Springer, that's just reminded me. But take care of yourselves and each other.